First tonight, plea bargains. Do they help or hinder? The executive director of the Bahamas Crisis Center is weighing in, while also echoing the cry for stiffer penalties for heinous crimes. Plus, breaking the cycle of violence in the country. One researcher has spent years studying the root cause and possible solutions. And later, are women forced to act like a lady but think like a man? 3 organizations coming together to explore this modern issue at an upcoming Valentine's event. We'll tell you all about it and so much more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. Longer sentences for those convicted of sexual crimes against children are a must. That conversation continuing to dominate headlines and table talk. The call for action further strengthened following public backlash after a father was sentenced in a magistrate's court to just 5 years for sexually assaulting his twin daughters. A number of organizations are continuing to publicly call for harsher sentences and penalties for those convicted of such heinous crimes. Adding their voice tonight is the Bahamas Crisis Center. Executive Director Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson, who is a strong advocate for criminalizing marital rape, says she too is in support of harsher penalties. But it's important for residents to understand how the law works with each specific case.
I think the whole issue of sentencing guidelines has to be addressed this year, but you need to look at what he was charged with. There's a difference between having sexual intercourse and penetration and touching, and so I think that that's how the difference came in terms of the sentencing.
However, Dean Patterson says there's another issue that needs to be addressed. She says over the years, she's noticed that many criminals escape long jail time because of plea bargaining.
We have to begin to look at people being allowed to plead guilty when they've done something wrong. I've seen too many children over the years who wait 5, 6, 7 years for their cases to reach trial. I think the director of prosecutions is saying, all right, I'm going to address that. I'm going to cut through this and make the time, the re-traumatization of children minimized.
Well, as violence on the streets of our nation, particularly here in the capital, seems to be growing more and more commonplace, our Jerome Sawyer, host of On the Record with Jerome Sawyer, sought to take a deep dive into the root causes and explore what exactly can be done to break the cycle. Researcher Keva Bethel has spent years studying the trends and causes of violence. What she and another doctor have come up with is something they call the evil tunnel of violence.
And this evil violence tunnel purports that a hurt child becomes a dangerous adult. So really and truly, a lot of the violent behavior is driven by past childhood experiences rooted in abuse and shame. And what happens is, as the child is hurt, they either translate the hurt into anger or sadness. And if they stay at the anger pole, then they translate that anger into shame because they become ashamed of what's happened to them as a child, but they're not able to verbalize it or get the help that they need. And this shame causes them to develop a false defensive self, like a persona. Mm-hmm. And if somebody offends them while they're functioning out of this persona, this shame false defensive self, they either hurt themselves by suicide or they hurt others by homicide.
Bethel says studies show that our brains are sculpted by our early life experiences, noting that maltreatment is the chisel that shapes our brains. And while socioeconomic factors do play a big role, trauma far outweighs those circumstances.
Carried out a trauma study, and what I found in the trauma study carried out here in the Bahamas was that 44% of our participants had adverse childhood experiences. They answered yes, specifically 44% of them to being physically abused before the age of 18, and 23% of them answered yes to being sexually abused before the age of 18. So these participants were in our group therapy sessions because of adverse behaviors, and when we dug a little deeper, we can see that it all stemmed back to some hurt they experienced as children.
All right, well, the World Health Organization reports that globally, over 700,000 people die by suicide every year, with many more attempting to commit suicide. Tonight, a doctor serving at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center describing these statistics as alarming. He says it calls for everyone to be more aware of the warning signs.
The person making statements like, life would be better without me. Okay, giving away prized possessions. Of course, very alarming is someone who has been depressed for a very long time and suddenly shows a significant improvement in their mood. That should raise an immediate red flag, because what it can suggest is that this person has thought about suicide, and they have resolved in their mind that they are going to go ahead with it.
Dr. Andy Lang, a volunteer clinical consultant at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center, says a person can be more vulnerable or prone to committing suicide based on certain factors.
They include things like a mental illness. Okay, so illnesses like depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety, substance use disorders, okay, so the termination of a relationship. Another risk factor is persons who might have experienced some other type of loss, like the loss of a loved one or the loss of employment, someone experiencing financial difficulties.
Now, if you suspect your loved one may be contemplating suicide, Dr. Lang strongly recommends asking the question directly. He says this opens the door to having the hard conversation and offering prevention. He also suggests getting specific details of their plan.
You also want to assess the person's level of lethality, meaning their accessibility to lethal means for carrying out a suicide. So you want to ask about whether or not they have access to firearms, about whether or not they have access to medications, poisons.
Dr. Lang emphasizing that suicide is preventable. He says protective factors include a strong network of family and friends, being a part of a faith community, and taking advantage of resources within the community, such as those offered at the Resilience Center.
The services are free of charge. Okay, and the Grand Bahama Resilience Center may be contacted at 602-5118 727-4244 or 443-8083.
Then there's the Department of Social Services.
The Department of Social Services can be accessed at 352-8847 or 48. There is also the Department of Rehabilitative Welfare Services, which can be contacted at 351-7357 or 9.
All right, well, when Our News Weekend comes back from the break, a generational love for reading. A primary school student donates 400 books to a local school's library, all in an effort to inspire other young readers. Plus, women empowerment is still at the forefront this Love Month. 3 organizations coming together to host a Galentine's event before the month end. We've got the details when Our News Weekend returns.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that runny nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try Setamol, cold and flu, and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
A young readers' love for books has turned into a generous act of kindness for students at Thelma Gibson Primary School. You see, Amelia Roll, driven by her grandmother's passion for reading to children, has donated 400 books to the school's library, ensuring that students have better access to literature. A passionate reader herself, she believes in the power of books and the importance of having a well-stocked library.
My Nana's always asking to borrow books to read to them, so I thought that if they had some more books in their library, she could use some of the books here. I think that it's really important to have a library because I personally really love reading, and I think that everybody should have an opportunity to like it.
Great job, Amelia. Well, think like a lady, act like a man. That's the theme of an upcoming Galentine's Night event hosted by a trilogy of organizations, namely Global Events and Services, Make the Connection, and Regal Event Management. Event coordinator Tanya Duncombe says the theme is a reflection of a modern-day issue many women face. The event, slated for February 28th, promises to be one of empowerment, friendship, and fun.
A lot of us act like a woman and think like a man. A lot of us mothers, single mothers, whatever you are, we do stuff not because we want to, but we have to. But in that, we're still reminded how to treat the Bahamian man or any man, to give them the support that they need to thrive, but also for us to find our purpose and live our life, because we have our own identity and we were created for a reason. So we don't want to get lost in that, but still have the mindset like Christ to build and support our Bahamian men.
Organizers say Galentine's Night will be staged in an intimate setting at Oasis Bar and Bistro. There's also a lineup of influential women who will deliver impactful presentations throughout the night.
We have Ms. Patricia Lockhart. She's a menopause health practitioner. We also have Michelle Malcolm. She's a certified holistic coach. So it will be all things women. We will have lots of activities. We will have, obviously, the food, the drinks. We'll have goodie bags, and we'll have a chance for persons to grab some exciting prizes in terms of the raffle.
Well, did you know that according to a recent study published by the Bahamas National Statistical Institute in October 2024, legal marriages are on the decline? Well, tonight our Danielle Miller sits with a marriage and family life therapist to discuss just why the marriage rate is decreasing in country.
Between 2010 and 2022, legal marriages saw a decrease of 2.5%. That's according to a report published by the Bahamas National Statistical Institute in October 2024. However, there are two categories that saw marked increases. Divorce rates rose by 16.3%, never married increased by 18.2%, and legally separated saw a staggering 75.6%. To this end, I put the tough questions to marriage and family life therapist, Apostle Dr. C. Clifford Smith. Specifically, why do we, as a society, seem to struggle with marriage?
When values and principles and morals decrease in terms of how they are being viewed or the esteem that we give them, right? Then people no longer really make a big deal out of faithfulness and resourcefulness and dependability, predictability. All of these terms I'm giving you right now are the kind of virtues that a spouse in a marriage should have.
And without those principles, he says it becomes easy for both genders to fall prey to a range of facades, such as lust and finance, all of which can become detrimental over time.
We got young people now that are going together. They don't really love each other. So they go and they know they got to pay for an apartment. It costs a certain amount of money. It's tough now going to find a good apartment for less than $1,200 or $1,300 a month without having a partner.
Smith reiterating his belief that love and romance are the foundations of a successful marriage, giving you the key to unlocking an everlasting love.
You marry a person for fun and friendship.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks so much, Danielle. Still to come on Our News Weekend. From the proverbial halls of YouTube University to the big leagues, one entrepreneur is sharing his journey to success. But first,
we check in with the National Youth Regatta and we deliver you the latest hoops updates. Our Sports Weekend is up next.
Diet-friendly special.
Good evening, welcome to Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. The national beach soccer team participated in a number of joint workouts with the Tahitian national team in preparation for the CONCACAF Beach Soccer Cup coming up in March. We pulled up to the scrimmage to check them out, and they were on their A game.
I think that it was very positive because in one of the games we were able to come back from behind and win the game. On another game we were down by 4 goals. We got close, lost by 1 goal. So I think those were positives. So I think we take a lot of moments from them, a lot of mistakes that we did here. So now we have 2 weeks to prepare, to work in practice, to correct those mistakes and not so we don't do them in the qualifiers.
That's Francis Faberhoff, head coach of the Bahamas national beach soccer team. They just wrapped up a full week of joint workouts and scrimmages with the Tahitian national team in preparation for the CONCACAF Beach Soccer Cup, which will happen next month right here in New Providence.
You know, this week has been great because we kind of mimicked what the qualifier would be. We had 3 games in a row, a day off, and then another game. So it was good. So we tested the players, their fitness, their toughness, because Tahiti is a very tough team.
The players also appreciated the chance to prepare with such tough competition.
I feel like we did well. You know, they are a very aggressive team, and like I said, they are a top 10 team. And so they are very technical, but we were able to kind of use our strategies in terms of holding the ball, being able to defend and attack against them. So we did well. I think we actually were very close, lost by 1 or 2 goals. We beat them 1 game. So it's a very competitive and good preparation for us going into the qualifier.
The Tahitian side was appreciative to get the work in, along with their fellow islanders from another ocean.
Et ça nous permet également de faire des tests avec les nouveaux joueurs.
It's good to have a match against other confederation, other team than us, because it's difficult for us to have friendly games. So we're glad to be here, and it's a good week because we try some tactics. It's the opportunity for us to try some tactics, try some new players in the team. So we are happy about this week.
Now, the Jokeroo boys will play in a couple of weeks at the National Stadium at the foot of the Sidney Poitier Bridge. We'll be all over it when the time comes. Now we head over to the court where Bahamian College players got some run. Dayton Aubrey and his Utah State Aggies may be the most underrated team in college basketball. He had 18 points and 3 rebounds to lead his team to a 79-71 win over San Diego State. His shot wasn't falling. He went 3 of 7 from the field, but he found a way or made one, making 12 of 13 from the charity stripe. His team is now 24-4 on the year, including a 14-3 conference record. VJ Edgecombe Baylor lost to Colorado 76-74. He had 8 points, but he probably wishes he had 2 more, along with 5 rebounds and 7 assists as they fall to conference opponent for the 2nd game in a row. AJ Starr had 7 off the bench for Rock Chalk. His Kansas Jayhawks blow out Oklahoma State 96-64. And of course, we couldn't go without mentioning that the Bahamas national team is playing right now against Team USA at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium in FIBA AmeriCup play. Check out our socials for the results from that one. That's a wrap for sports this evening for Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. Have a great week.
Thanks so much, Tej. On the other side of this break, we have a check on your Sunday evening weather forecast. Our meteorologist Greg Thompson checks in from the Weather Center right after this quick break.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that running nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try Setamol, cold and flu, and get back to the better you. Available to pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
Welcome back and thanks for sticking with us. Well, it's that time on the weekend where you prepare for the week ahead. To help you get started weather-wise, here's meteorologist Greg Thompson. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Megan, and a happy Sunday evening, everybody. A beautiful day around the islands. Temperatures managed to get up near the 80-degree mark, but we are quite comfortable this evening. 72 degrees is our current temperature with a few clouds on the outside. It is a little bit on the breezy side. Your winds are out of the northeast at 12 miles per hour. Your feels-like temperature is at 71. Temperatures around the islands right now, it is 67 in Freeport as well as in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up a pair of 71s. Alistown, Bimini, Great Harbor Key. 72s, Nichols, San Andres here in the capital over in Governor's Harbor. Central Bahamas, 73 in Keps Bay, Arthurstown, Kit Island. 74 in Deadman's Key as well. 72 in Georgetown, the Exumas, Copen Town, San Salvador, 71, and into the southeast Bahamas. We pick up 76, Duncantown, Ragged Island, 77, and Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, 78. You guys have some showers nearby. There's a weak front boundary near that area. 76 in Abrams Bay as well, with some showers nearby. Also in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands, Matthewtown, Inago, deep south. You guys are 79 at this hour. Satellite radar composite, weak frontal boundary that was lurking near the southeast Bahamas, still have some precipitation and some moisture associated with it. On the backside of that, or on the north side, most of that activity across the central Bahamas. We expect this frontal boundary to eventually fade out. There's a low pressure system to the north of us as well that has a weak surface trough across the northern islands. You are also seeing some showers up there as well. But we are watching a low pressure system develop in the Gulf of Mexico. That is the one that's going to be bringing us this frontal boundary by Monday, Tuesday time frame. We're looking for some showers, some significant showers actually, some showers that will fill up our rain gauge. Also the possibility of some thunderstorm activity associated with this front. This one is going to be a potent one. But once that front goes through Tuesday into Wednesday, we expect high pressure to be building in. That's going to continue to keep us with some really nice weather for the balance of next week. Future forecast showing how things are shaping up right now. That moisture associated with that boundary near the southeast Bahamas will basically hang out there, still producing a couple of showers. But the big blob of showers and thunderstorms associated with that low pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico will be approaching the Florida area by Monday afternoon. And the northern island should start seeing some activity across the area by Tuesday early. And then it should be moving through the capital by Tuesday afternoon and racing towards the south and east. Boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the southeast to east at 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet, but they will be up to 6 feet in some northeast to easterly swells, mainly along the Atlantic exposures. So we're asking you boaters to use some caution. Also, the rip current risk will remain elevated. Low tide tonight is at 10:02. Your high tide takes place at 4:37 in the morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, Monday and Tuesday looks to be the soggy day. We have a lot of showers associated with that low pressure system and that front. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s, nighttime temperatures near the 70-degree mark. But by Wednesday, we expect things to be clearing out, looking for some partly sunny, the sunny skies. Temperatures will hang out near the 80-degree mark. Nighttime temperatures will be in the low 60s to the mid 60s. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, well, tonight, a young entrepreneur whose niche talent has become synonymous with his stage name is sharing his story with our Danielle Miller. He tells us how finding and nurturing his special skills turned out to be his golden ticket to success. Let's take a look.
The name Christoph Churchboy Roll is one that is greatly praised and highly respected within the local religious community. There are few spiritual events he is not a part of, specializing in videography, photography, graphic design, and more, all before his 30th birthday. The popular talent and entrepreneur admits that his early training in the media industry came from a popular digital platform.
Straight from YouTube. No school or anything. It was straight out of YouTube videos, staying up countless hours at night and, just going through the different skills, the editing techniques of how to produce certain graphics.
Recently, Roll added 2 new roles to his resume: husband and father.
Glory be to God. I would love to shout out my wife, Mrs. Sade Roll, and of course my baby girl, Kadi. Listen, they are amazing. They are so beautiful, precious, and it's been nothing but joy, peace, and happiness. They have been my rock when sometimes I get weary. They are there to support me through it all, and she pushes me every day.
With a heart of excellence and humility, he says he gives all honor to God. He adds that he's currently preparing for what the future holds for his family.
We have some amazing things in the pipeline, not just locally, but internationally. And so stay tuned. You'll hear more about it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
And with that, we thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.